Hello everyone and welcome back to the Synergy Sanctum. My name is Justin. Thank you so much for stopping by. Here at the Synergy Sanctum, we specialize in all things related to Magic the Gathering with a specific focus on deck building. So I aim to show you very quick deck techs that'll show you all of the cards in the deck and how they work together to ultimately achieve the goals of that deck. If you're not already, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. We really appreciate that. And we also have a sister channel now, so head on over to Commander Coliseum and check out their content as well. And for today's deck tech, we are running Keruga the Macrosage, an EDH focused deck around entering the battlefield and blinking. So Keruga was inspired to build this because he is Simic, so he has blue, so we can do all of the blinking abilities, and he has a really powerful enter the battlefield effect with drawing a card for each other permanent you control with converted mana cost 3 or greater. So I pictured having a ton of those out, and then Keruga comes in, and then you blink him to basically draw your deck and get whatever you need. And then there's a ton of cards in green and blue that also have enter the battlefield effects, so this deck is going to be pretty powerful and draw you a ton of cards. Current TCG market value is $103 to $145, and our land count is at 36 lands, with 17 of those being basics and 19 of those being non-basics. So the way that we're going to get this done, we do have a specific win con in the deck. So for those familiar, Peregrine Drake says whenever it enters, you get to untap 5 lands, and there's ways of breaking that with blue, with cards like Ghostly Flicker, and then because we're in Simic, we can do this repeatedly with Lily Splash Mentor as well, because it only costs 3 to blink something, and Peregrine Drake is going to net you 2 mana. So this gets you infinite mana. With the Ghostly Flicker combo, you have to use another card like Timeless Witness, Eternal Witness, or Archaeomancer, because once the Ghostly Flicker resolves, it brings it back to your hand, and then you basically get to do this infinitely and get infinite mana, so really powerful here. And then you can be shifting that blink as well to something else that's going to draw you cards. Because we are drawing a ton of cards, we run the risk of decking out, so we're running Laboratory Maniac in case that happens, so we still win. And then we're running Psychosis Crawler to drain our opponents off of every single draw. And then the enter the battlefield creatures in the deck, starting with the ones that draw us cards and ramp us. So across the top, we've got Farhaven Elf, Elvish Rejuvenator, Wood Elves, Coily Oracle, and Solemn Simulacrum. Each of these is getting you a land when they enter, and then varying effects from each of them. And then we've got our draws down the bottom here with Llanowar Visionary, Tomb Raider, Cloudkin Seer, Storm Chaser, Drake, and Muldrifter. They're all drawing you cards when they enter. And then Tishana, Voice of Thunder, is drawing us cards, but she's a little more of a showstopper because when she enters, you get to draw a card for each creature you control. So very powerful here, and her power and toughness are equal to the cards in hand, and she grants you no max hand size as well. So kind of a backup to Keruga here. And then we've got more entering the battlefield effects with removal and interaction. So Meteor Golem and Duplicant each have targeted removal on them. Bane of Progress is blowing up all artifacts and enchantments. Manglehorn's doing it to a single one, but then kind of staxing your opponents a bit because their artifacts enter tapped. Venser, Shaper, Savant, and Manowar are returning a permanent or creature to their owner's hands. Kogla, the Titan Ape, when he enters, he's fighting something, so he's got removal, and then when he attacks, he blows up stuff as well. Reclamation Sage is blowing up an artifact or enchantment when it enters. Acidic Slime's blowing up a artifact, enchantment, or land. And then Amphibian Mutineer is exiling non-salamander creatures and then giving your that creature's controller a salamander, so more removal. And then even more ETBs, so we already covered Archaeomancer, but he's returning spells from your graveyard, so you can keep doing all of this blink stuff. Avenger of Zendikar would be pretty powerful blinking because he's going to make plants equal to your lands every time, and then when lands enter, they're getting bigger. We've got alternate win cons here with Enray's Forerunners and Great Oak Guardian because they're boosting your team, and this stacks as well. So if you're able to blink them or return them to your hand, you get to keep doing this and keep adding the +2/+2 and trample on top of what you already did. And then we've got Fierce Empath to tutor us one of these big creatures to our hand, and then Panharmonicon is doubling up on all this entering the battlefield triggers, so very powerful in this deck that's focused on doing that. And then here is our blink package. So Lily Splash Mentor already mentioned, but for 3 can repeatedly blink things, so really powerful here. Ghostly Flicker, arguably one of the best ones. And then Essence, Flux, Blur, Siren's Ruse, Splash Portal, Displace, Teferi's Time Twist, Planar Incision, and Illusionist Stratagem. All blink creatures, multiple creatures, single creatures. They give added value, like the Stratagem giving you draw. But lots of blinking here, so we can make sure that strategy starts going. And then there's other cards that sort of blink. So Displacer Kitten is doing it off of every cast. Really powerful here. Thassa Deep Dwelling and Conjurer's Closet are doing it at end step. And then there's this card, Tidespout Tyrant. So it is pretty expensive at 8 mana, but it says whenever you cast a spell, you get to return a permanent to its owner's hand. So you can kind of choose what returns, right? You can return one of your own permanents and then keep recasting them if you've achieved that infinite mana. Or you can just bounce your opponent's entire board. Crystal, Shard, and Snap let you do it to a single target. And then Tamir Sabertooth for 2 mana, you're going to return a creature to its owner's hand and giving it indestructible, so you can keep doing this. And then other good stuff in the deck, so Unnatural Growth will make everybody bigger, doubling their power and toughness at combat. We've got Targeted Removal with Beast Within. Amphibian Downpour, we're going to be casting a ton of spells, so the Storm ability here will turn all of your opponent's creatures into frogs. Mystic Sanctuary to return stuff from our graveyard. Ominous Seas, every time you're drawing, it's getting a counter. You can remove 8 to make an 8/8 Kraken. And then we've got 4 counter spells, the kind of basic ones here with Negate, Counterspell, and Offer You Can't Refuse, and Arcane Denial. And then additional draw in the deck, not that we need it because we have so many ETB guys doing that for us. So Preordain and Ponder and Brainstorm all let us draw. Growth Spiral lets you draw and then also put a land in. Windfall is our wheel for everybody. And then Return of the Wild Speaker is kind of versatile. Lets you either draw equal to the greatest power on non-humans you control, or you get to boost all of those creatures by 3. And then Rishkar's Expertise has the added value of letting you cast a spell 5 or less from your hand after you draw all those cards. And then finally, our ramp in the deck, so we want to make sure this strategy kicks off and we don't end up, not being able to do anything I just described. So Soul Rain, Simic Signet, and Arcade Signet for the mana. Thought Vessel and Decanter of Endless Water also give you no max hand size. And then we've got Ramp here with Rampant Growth, Cultivate, and Kodamas Reach all getting you lands. And then Explore is letting you play an additional one and also letting you draw a card for the turn. And with that, our show has come to an end. Thank you so much for watching our video, and if you enjoyed that video, feel free to share it out with any friends who might find value in it as well. Thank you so much for stopping by. We hope to see you again soon. Have a good one.